Every quantum leap I'm finding myself trapped inside of people. Differences underneath the fundamental side of ego. Truly not that equal, that's why they say don't meet your heroes. We are part of this evil, so pardon all my amigos. Feeling slightly psychologically senile, it's like a part of me is out here signaling a watery grave. I hit the lottery at the bottom of the bottle of freedom. Handwritten messages thanking us for the souls we save. 7 seals hiding underneath the 7 seas. Find me riding that tsunami to the mouth of the beast. Same old saying, surf's up, they took a lot of abuse. A lot of projects gonna bomb, they are short on the fuses. And I sympathize, singled out monsters seeming civilized. Synchronizing up with the mausoleum in the sky. Need another reason, kicking dust up to seal the fires. Out here with the sign that reads, free the virus.
People calm down. Standing out here yelling rabble, rabble, rabble isn't going to help anything.
But we don't know what else to do there.
They're killing all this time, drowning in suds laid at the tavern. The rest of humanity trying to climb out the cavern. Imagine the smell, these clunky devs always relapse. Getting rugged by another pleb sitting in rehab. Motherfuckers out here simping trying to get a launch state. Flexing in the mirror like how big is your apostate. Propping up these ominous horror scenes, they theorize. Show of hands, how many y'all can read it right? Heads down deciphering the codes, they need the cash flow. It's all like trust me bro, when light another flash loan. Bathed in the unsolved mysteries, they realize nothing they were working on was real life. Identify the need to feed hostility inside of these genetics. Human beings being redesigned, but who takes the credit? Meanwhile the rest of us are drowning in debt, and they wonder why we won't ever forget when the shit gets shit.
Motherfuckers.
And in these 10 commandments, it turns out they all say that you guys are scammers.
Whew. All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. That was Finn, FOMO Finn, a.k.a. The man behind Rack FM's music videos. October 6th. Going to be a good stream today. It's been a while. A lot has happened, but thank you. Thank you so much for joining. I don't even know where to start, man. It's been a while. Like I said, lots of activity in the Middle East. That's the headline today. We've had this geopolitical tension for a long time. But as soon as there was some serious activity over there, right, Iran launching a couple hundred missiles at Israel, the markets got absolutely nuked, and that's to be expected. I've been a little bit bearish short term on Bitcoin. I pumped the brakes a little bit with buying. I sold a little bit, and we'll talk about that. But there was some positives since the last time we had one of these streams. We had rate cuts. We've got some new institutional products. And of course, we had conference season, which is, man, it seems to be good for everyone except token holders and women. What the hell was happening in Singapore? Jesus Christ. Can we put a tent on that circus conference, people? Like you're there to push the envelope with technology, not to dry hump hookers in a club while everyone that's there with a camera is videoing it and putting it on the internet. Holy hell. But yeah, welcome everybody. Joe here, you're over there. This is Dead Cat Crypto, and this is the channel where we talk about all things related to your bags. We talk about what's relevant to the crypto user. And yes, that's you, the one who actually is expected to buy these tokens and use these apps if you could find any good ones anywhere. This is not a channel for pumping prices, but we examine the real value of cryptocurrency and the use cases of blockchain. We do our best to avoid these super high risk, low reward situations, and we never get rugged, right? That's the goal. Don't get rugged. Live to fight another day. Protect your bags when you have to. But yeah, Dead Cat Media, this is the company dedicated to you. And we use various platforms to pass on this educational content. We're right here on YouTube and Twitter, sometimes on Twitch, sometimes on Rumble, and soon to be expanding to even more platforms. So if you like this sort of educational, informational, realistic crypto content, please, you could support me by subscribing below. Most people that watch this channel are not subscribed because I always forget to say that. But even if you don't want to subscribe, you could drop some comments, questions down below. I always make it my business to reply to the people who, sometimes give me good ideas, sometimes give me pushback, and sometimes ask some good questions. I will reply to you. And if you're so inclined, if you would share this video, assuming what I say actually resonates with you. And in the description, of course, I've got some important links. You could join my Telegram, which gives even more insights to what I do, how I think, and you could even win some money from time to time by supporting my content. So that's my opening spiel. Hope everyone is doing well. Got a bunch of people watching on Twitter. I've got the chat here. I don't even know if I could read Twitter comments, but it's always more fun to join the YouTube stream. Come over to YouTube. While you come over, you could maybe subscribe. Last time we did have Don Kryptonium on, we just mostly talked. We were just kind of like hanging out, talking about what he was involved in. We talked about meme tokens. We talked about the disingenuous founders, validators who seem to be holding the space back at times, even though they're necessary for the space, which is super, super ironic. Man, he's a ball of fun and laughter, isn't he? Isn't he a ball of fun and laughter? Man, he will say anything at any time. I don't have a way to cut him off. He's pretty reserved, all things considered this time around. But yeah, let's get to some crypto prices. I'm feeling good. I woke up really early today, guys. Woke up really early. Oh, and by the way, if you're in the United States, you already know this. This is like prime time of the year, I should say, for sports. Oh my God, man. Hockey and basketball are about to start, right? So that's great. But football is in full swing. Football's in full swing, and baseball playoffs. Whew, what a great time of the year to be a Met fan, at least in 2024. I'm a huge Met fan. I got shaken out with baseball during COVID. I was like, these are not real games. There's no crowd. They put these stupid cardboard cutouts of fans to make the players feel like they're playing a real game. They were not real games. And if your team, I don't even know who won the World Series during COVID, it didn't count. It absolutely does not count. 2024, Mets, New York Mets started off really horrendously in the standings. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the weather got hot, the team got hot, man, they are just on an absolute tear, especially the last week and a half or so. Absolutely bringing the hammer down on the Phillies, which is just, Philadelphia is, they want to be known as like the best sports city. It's a pathetic city, pathetic sports teams, just pathetic players that play there. Always second rate in every possible way. They are second rate to the other great sports cities like New York, Chicago, LA. I'll even throw San Francisco in there, but wow, Philadelphia, your team is so sad. You have the most talent on paper. You don't have a catcher that can manage a bullpen, call pitches and all that, manage the handling of the bullpen, I should say, because the Phillies had a long time off, right? Because they were in first place. Like, oh, we're in first place. We get to rest everybody. They sucked. They were freaking terrible yesterday. Zach Wheeler, of course, took advantage of like the horrendous stadium with the shadows covering the pitcher's mound and home plate. Nobody could hit that stuff. You could tell by the swings that nobody could see the ball. So that accounts for Zach Wheeler, who was wild. The umpire was helping him out. The Mets probably would have won like 9-2 if the umpire was fair and it was like a regular night game. Like baseball is either meant to be played at 1 p.m, my time, or 7 o'clock at night, my time. There's no 4 o'clock baseball. That's just it's fake. It doesn't count. Zach Wheeler, your entire performance yesterday did not count. I don't care how good you were this year. It was a garbage beginning of the game. Of course, as soon as it gets dark, the Mets just drop the absolute hammer on the Phillies, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Football's wild, man. I watch college football. Alabama is like one of the most storied universities for football. They got smoked yesterday by a third-rate team in Vanderbilt. Holy hell. I didn't even check the Tennessee score, but I knew Tennessee was going to have trouble with Arkansas. Tennessee is ranked really high. I really didn't even check the score, so I'm going to do that right now. We're live, guys. There's some mistakes. Wow, Arkansas beat them. Jesus. Well, it's not a surprise. Arkansas is tough. They're not even ranked. I think Tennessee was ranked 4th coming into the game. Arkansas not ranked. You can't lose those games. Now you just kind of blew your shot at a national championship. Poor kids. These are college kids. They're amateurs. but that's it. That's my sports spiel. My fantasy team has I got Mahomes on my fantasy team. He's going to absolutely light up the field today. Yeah, I expect my fantasy team to win their second straight, and that's NFL. I don't really have a team in NFL. I guess I like Baltimore. Always liked Ray Lewis, and of course, Steve McNair was my favorite player. So when he was on Baltimore along with Ray Lewis, I'm like, gosh, my favorite team. But anyway, this is just American stuff. You guys don't care, and if you're a nerd, you don't care anyway. Even if you are in America, you don't like sports. That's why you got into computers, right? You play computer games, collect comic books, and you go to DevCell conferences like Token 2049. Well, how did the strippers get let loose in like a Muslim country? I don't know, but that's what happened. That's what happened. Hey man, got no runes in the chat. It's like your third or fourth time dropping by in a row. I really appreciate that support. Believe me. Again, most people are on Twitter, so they're not even hearing what I'm saying until people watch the replay of this. So if you watch the replay, there's a lot of filler in the beginning, but we'll get to the fun stuff, and that's going to be Bitcoin. Let's get this on the screen nice and big. But I like to look at 7-day trends. Popcat ripping, wormhole. Not surprised. I'm in a really good private Telegram with a trader, and he's been talking about wormhole for like a month, saying the chart looks like it bottomed out. Great. Mantra, they've got an airdrop coming, so I don't know how this is bullish for price. Airdrops are usually not good for price unless they happen in like perfect bull market timing. But here are your top 3 performers over the last 7 days. Oh man, should have covered the mic there, eh? Guys, live, a lot of stuff happens. 24 hours, who's winning? Celestia. Celestia is so volatile, man. Wow, so volatile. Celestia represents everything that's wrong with low float, high FDV tokens, and it's not even clear like what that chain is going to be used for. Is it like meant to help other chains? But yeah, Celestia, I got out of that. I think I sold it around 7. I took an L on that, and I moved it into something else that I have higher conviction in. I think I don't want to crap all over modular data availability layer narrative, but the minute the Celestia airdrop went live, I never saw anything on my timeline again about modularity. I think they were just pumping it up for the airdrop. Maybe some insiders were able to sell that day. I don't know. But the price went from like $2 to $20 and then in short order back down to like $5. So I don't know, man. Price discovery, I guess. But you don't get really price discovery until most of the unlocks are finished. And you don't have that. Like these low float, high FDV tokens, you get massive unlocks at like the worst time possible if you're holding staking tokens. I think Celestia will be a great accumulation token for the next cycle. I feel that way about a lot of tokens. A lot of them just like, this was not a good cycle so far anyway for altcoins. Altcoins, 90% of them are underperforming. I don't care what anybody says. I get crap all the time. We're not in a bull market yet. Bitcoin hit its all-time high like 7 months ago. So when does the bull market start? You tell me. Is it when you break even on your bags that you've been holding for 2.5 years and you sell out of everything, but you break even by the skin of your teeth? Is that when the bull market starts? That is not when the bull market starts. Stocks are at all-time highs. Bitcoin hit all-time highs. Commodities all-time highs. Like, come on. Let's get some music here. You guys don't want to just hear just one thing. I always do this AI hip hop. It sometimes works out, and I don't even know why I have my headphones in. I'm by myself today. Good Lord. We're gonna go with but anyway, Lido DAO. I have no idea what this token does, guys. I know what Lido is, obviously. Athena. So Athena's protocol that can bring off-chain yield on chain. That's great. Their token's getting absolutely murdered, down almost 20%. Floki. Man, I researched Floki, and now I can't remember what it was all about. But I thought, I was like, wow, this is actually like, seems pretty good, but now I can't even remember what it's about. But man, what else? What's good is none of my holdings are in this deep red here. Let's see when the first one is. My portfolio is balanced pretty much for stability through volatile times, and that's what I've gotten pretty much with my portfolio. I don't have any of these tokens. I don't even have Doge anymore. Okay, I got the graph. The graph has been volatile. I think I bought in at like 13.5 cents, and then I bought back in at like 15 cents. So not too impressive of a holding there, but I didn't buy much. Cardano, my God. Cardano people on Twitter, what is wrong with you people? What in the name of God is wrong with Cardano holders? Everything's the best on Cardano, but nobody uses it and no one buys a token, I guess. You know, the market's wrong. The market's always wrong. The market's always wrong. I don't want to talk about Cardano again, man. They just like, they're average. Like, you're just admit you're average, and you're overvalued by market cap by like probably 50% or more. Who cares if the network never went down? That's because no one uses it. And you guys have a long way to go. You squandered first mover advantage, Cardano. I have ADA token. I'm flooding my own bags here, but I don't care. I don't care. When we talk about centralization and decentralization later in the stream, we'll revisit Cardano, because Cardano people, they're delusional. They think that they're the most decentralized chain and that decentralization is the most important thing in crypto. But then what? What's after that? Decentralizing what? Of course you're decentralized. You have, one user in each country, so you're geographically decentralized, I guess. My God. All right. I mentioned before, I think Bitcoin is like short-term bearish, and this is what I meant. I'm not a trader. This is not financial advice. I'm just a guy that holds tokens, and I try to learn as much as I can about them. For me, Bitcoin is 50% of my portfolio. I check the Bitcoin price every couple of days. I don't obsess over prices, but I did think about selling this last pump, and I didn't sell any because I don't really have a trading position. I got like my long-term bags on my hardware wallet. But anyway, short-term bearish on this time frame, like all-time highs were March 13th. And then they've been lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, except for this one. So is this a reversal? Maybe a trader can tell me. Is this a triple bottom? Is this a head and shoulders reversal? I mean, the wicks are so quick, I almost have to manipulate the chart. But like, is this reverse head and shoulders or head and shoulders, reverse head and shoulders? I don't know, man. But all I know is when we get up here, we got a bunch of Jeets out there that are just selling this shit, not letting it. So like, we're going to get back to like 65, 66K and then 67K, and everyone's going to sell. Why? Who's selling here, really? Like, if you bought Bitcoin, and this is a tremendous dip, by the way. I had a limit order. Right around here, and it didn't hit on Coinbase. I think I had it for 50,500 or 51,500. It didn't even trigger. So I don't know what the hell happened. This is the Coinbase Bitcoin chart, but I have a bunch of limit orders starting around here, 54,000, around here, 51,000, and then way down here, 42, 41, 40, 39. And if it gets down there, I'm happy to buy, because I don't think much has fundamentally changed with Bitcoin. I really don't. I think it's just getting better and better. As the weeks and months go on, the network survived the halvening. Miners have a pathway to profit, to running profitable miners with ordinals. We have L2s, and we have tons of bridged Bitcoin. We have tons of sidechain activity and runes and all that stuff. So we have like the beginnings of what could be DeFi in, around, and on Bitcoin, I guess, if you want to say it that way. I was supposed to talk to Babylon. Babylon is a proof of stake chain that uses Bitcoin to, I guess, validate blocks, mint blocks. And they canceled on me because they said that my channel was not their cup of tea. And I totally understand that. I totally understand that, because I don't want to hear about tech. I want to know what's going to be the catalyst that causes regular people to download something onto their phones and buy crypto, hold crypto, even trade it. I don't see much in DeFi. Like, we got excited over DeFi primitives in 2020, 2021. Great DeFi primitives. Oh, DEX. It's magic. But who's going to use a DEX in the future? Nobody. Everyone, in the end, you always need a centralized exchange, at least to off-ramp. So you might as well just use a centralized exchange the whole time. DEXs are good for trading shit coins, DAO tokens, project tokens. I get that. They're also good for manipulating price, but also they're good for price discovery. But in the end, you need something that taps that liquidity. And otherwise, you just have a bunch of bored people trading, doing what they did on Solana. And that's trading meme tokens. This is a map of Bitcoin ownership by country. And I never realized that India had so many crypto holders. I did not know that. Maybe I'm out in the dark here. But man, oh man. Over 100 million individuals who own cryptocurrency. I don't know how they measure this. I'm always skeptical of this daily user data, monthly user data. These are just wallets. These are not people, unless these are separate individuals KYC'd for centralized exchanges. But nonetheless, there's a lot of surprises with this map. So India's got almost 100 million people who own cryptocurrency. China's number 2. Okay. United States is number 3. This is by number of people. So it's like the 2 most populated countries are number 1 and number 2, and then the US, which is like a financial center, right? But I sorted this the other day. Oops. I sorted this by a different way, and now of course I can't find it. But this is not right. I wanted to show you something else. Oh, this is it. Percent of population that own Bitcoin. This is from 2022. Let's go to 2023, right? India, China, as a percent, are still 1 and 2. United States. Oh, sorry, no, I was wrong sorted. UAE, number 1. Vietnam, number 2. United States, number 3. That's tough, right? It's tough for the United States to see like Vietnam has way more people as a percent of population who own cryptocurrency. Really what I wanted to show were the countries. I have to search it now. I'll just type in countries most Bitcoin. Damn it. I don't think this is going to be right. Man, I did not have this set up properly for you guys. But anyway, the countries that own crypto, government ownership, it's El Salvador, Bhutan, and I don't know this country, Bermuda. Like that's shocking. Governments that own Bitcoin. Maybe we'll search that. I found this the other day. Is this it? No. Anyway, just edit this out. We'll just edit this out. All right. If you're in the chat, just say something so I know you're alive. Got like 100 people chilling and nobody in the chat. This is guys making my job a little hard here. I wanted to talk about NFT Nashville. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. That's good enough. Good enough. So NFT Nashville is really a community-focused, community-centered crypto conference. It's focused on the niche NFT communities, also inscriptions, meme tokens, anything that's kind of shares the same birth with NFTs and that mentality where somebody has an idea, they make it attractive to others and they sell it on some kind of launch pad or marketplace. Like NFT mints really drove a lot of crypto activity back in like 2020, 2021, especially these giant 10K generative art mints. When that happened, man, people were able to scale that art up and draw in a lot of new people into crypto. I was one of them. NFT Nashville is on November the 2nd. It is a $75 cover charge. That includes food, goodie bag. I believe we're going to have the bar there. I mean, we have to. That's the whole point. But this is myself and another content creator. We thought about this. And the reason why we wanted to do a conference dedicated to NFTs is because the NFT communities are the ones that held crypto together during the bear market when FTX and Terra and all these things happened. NFT creators were still out there just beating the drum. Hey, I've got this great idea for NFT collection, building community, whitelist, all this stuff. And they just kept churning them out. Developers of DeFi protocols disappeared. Spaces became few and far between. I don't know what the hell was going on in Discord, but lots of Discords went dark. And NFTs were the most interesting thing happening during the bear market. NFTs gave way to ordinals to an extent, which are inscriptions, runes, and meme tokens. Man, oh man, meme tokens. So this conference is kind of a way to focus the spotlight on those communities. This is not going to be a conference where a bunch of developers talk to their competitors who are sitting in the audience staring at their phones. That's not what this is about. We'll talk about use cases for NFTs, the fun that's involved in these NFT communities, and also maybe a little bit about where the tech is going. NFTs in DeFi, NFTs in gaming, NFTs in terms of digital ownership. So if you want any more information about NFT Nashville, you could hit the website. I have my tweet here. It's nftnashville.xyz. You could buy tickets there with fiat. You could buy tickets with Atom. You could even mint the ticket as an NFT on the wonderful Stargaze platform. $75. It's USDC. This tweet here is calling attention to the side event. So if you're going, and I know there are a bunch of people going from last year, I'm sure there'll be some new people. This year, it's even open to the public. But NFT Nashville has a side event this year sponsored by Atom Accelerator DAO. It's a grants program related to the Cosmos Hub. And this is at Pins Mechanical in kind of close to downtown Nashville, not directly in downtown Nashville. Man, it is an awesome spot. It is absolute awesome place where people can mingle, have some drinks, get ready for the conference the next day. It's going to be from 5 to 7. Of course, you're welcome to stay later, but since this is sponsored, we'll have some food, some drinks on the house. And from there, whatever happens, happens. The next day is the conference around 10 a.m. And we're going to have fun. We had fun last year. It's a cheap conference to attend, no boring talks. And you get to meet people that are actually in the NFT space doing stuff, like regular people actually doing stuff in the NFT space. So shout out to all the sponsors. We'll have them up on the website definitely early next week so you can see who actually supports community initiatives and who doesn't. Man, we had a lot of people give their word like, hey, we're going to sponsor you guys. And then when it comes time to actually sponsor and send the money and discuss the package of perks for the sponsors, get ghosted. I don't know if I should name them. I don't think I should name them, but I will at some point. Maybe at the conference, I'm going to name the people that ghosted us after we were told, yes, we will sponsor. We will sponsor. Got 5 on it in the audience here. They were actually the first sponsor this year. Basically, it was sort of a prepay of tickets kind of sponsorship, as at least that's how we made it work on our end. And that's the Cutes collection on Stargaze, CEWTS, the newts, the cute newts. And they allowed us to put the down payment for our venue, which is in Franklin, Tennessee. It's a short Uber from downtown Nashville, like 15 minutes, something like that, $15, I forget, from last year. Awesome venue. You could find out more on the website. It's nftnashville.xyz. Let's get to some DeFi stuff, and then we'll get to what I want to talk about with decentralization. Man, I'm sick of that word. Are you?
Every quantum leap I'm finding myself trapped inside of people. Differences underneath the fundamental side of ego. Truly not that equal, that's why they say don't meet your heroes. We are part of this evil, so pardon all my amigos. Feeling slightly psychologically senile, it's like a part of me is out here signaling a watery grave. I hit the lottery at the bottom of the bottle of freedom. Handwritten messages thanking us for the souls we saved. 7 seals hiding underneath the 7 seas. Find me riding that tsunami to the mouth of the beast. Same old saying, surf's up, they took a lot of abuse. A lot of projects gonna bomb, they are short on the fuses. And I sympathize, singled out monsters seeming civilized. Synchronizing up with the mausoleum in the sky. Need another reason, kicking dust up to seal the fires. Out here with the sign that reads, free the virus.
People, calm down. Standing out here yelling rabble, rabble, rabble isn't going to help anything.
All right. So we got the music on. I want to do my thing here, and then we'll get into decentralization. We are going to talk about Solana, but one thing that I want to emphasize is that I believe the most important thing in crypto is the development of applications. Right now, applications are not getting funded. VCs want layer ones because when a layer one launches, automatically means a token. It gives the VCs something tangible to hold in exchange for their investment. And I don't blame VCs for this at all. You could say that they're like leeches, they're sucking liquidity out of the space, all that stuff. Guess what? If retail didn't pay them off every single time, they would have to change their strategy, and maybe they'd have to fund some apps. But end users need something they could hold in their hand, play with, show their friend at the bar, and something like WhatsApp, something like eBay, something like, I don't know, Amazon, okay? Or a game, Clash of Clans. I see the damn advertisement every time I go on the internet. So Solana is actually doing this, and I think this is one reason why I'm not the biggest Solana fan, but I think you're a fool if you don't recognize how good Solana is at giving people something to do on chain. And what I want to talk about briefly with respect to apps is this device right here. All right, so this is the Seeker, Solana Mobile, right? This is a tangible device. It's not shipping till next year, but you can pre-order it now for like $500, and I'm probably going to do it. And again, it's not, you don't need to be this Solana fan of all time. You really don't. You really don't. We'll have the video play while I talk nonsense. Is it even going to play? Is it too loud? I don't know how to turn the sound off. I don't think you could hear it anyway. But yeah, Solana is going to put a physical device in your hand for what? Well, let's look. This right here. It says the Solana ecosystem in your pocket. Solana dApp Store 2.0. It is a collection of applications on a phone. People want to use this to do stuff, right? I don't want like a ledger and then I need like seed words and then I have to go to a website and then open up another window to launch the app, and then I have to hook up jumper cables to my computer and all this nonsense just to like do a swap. It's stupid. It really is stupid to have all this friction and then say, well, why are the tokens doing bad? Well, number one, the tokens suck to begin with, and number two, the apps are even worse. So Solana knows what's important. What's important is applications. And you could say maybe institutional investment is important. Yes, Solana's got that covered too, by the way. But man, this is their second attempt at a device, and looks like there's going to be a token for it. Look at that. That's the apps. Those are the apps. That's what people want to see. Oh, what's this do? Click. What's this do? Click. Oh, I got to download something cool. Oh, this is not so fun. Let me go to the next one. Let me go to the next one. When you download an app, if you can't figure out how to use it in like 2 minutes, you're going to lose interest in the app. You're going to either delete it off your phone or you're going to forget about it completely. DeFi is screwed up, man. You got to know all the websites. You got to bookmark them all, I guess. There's no one place, one landing page for all of these apps. And I remember on a space with 2 Cardano gaming projects. And I was like, why don't you guys just together launch a website and put 6-8 games on one website? And they were like, that's stupid. It's not stupid. You're stupid. Nobody plays your game. Nobody uses your app. All your numbers are fudged, whether it's TVL, monthly active users, all that nonsense. Solana is going to know exactly how many people are using their apps because they're going to be separate devices, right? And they're going to say, okay, well, we sold 10,000 phones and 5,000 of those phones have interacted with more than 10 apps in the last month. And then the other 5,000 phones opened up one app and then never turned the phone on again. This is actual real data that they can use. But more importantly, they're getting apps in the hands of normal people. And I get it. Maybe only like dev types and like hardcore power users are going to take the plunge to pre-order a phone like this when everyone uses iPhone or Android, right? But this is, you got to start somewhere. And this is tremendous. Get a device into the hands of somebody that can see all the apps for that ecosystem, right? And that becomes your Solana portfolio, the all-in-one Solana portfolio. While we're on the topic, this is SWI. And SWI, I've heard nothing but good things about SWI. I just haven't turned my attention there. This is the SWI Play. And this is a gaming device. And again, it's going to be in your hands. They're going to put a device in your hands, and then you'll be playing games like how people play games, or at least used to play games. Show your friend, hey, you get one, then we can play. Like it's a no-brainer. Obviously, there's a huge expense probably to develop something like this, but I would consider this a marketing expense, and most projects don't spend anything on marketing. Anything. But man, devices. I mean, it's not for every project or every layer one to put a device out there. But why are you letting Solana and SWI beat the pants off you to this? Only the first couple are going to take off, and then it's going to take a while for something really good to hit. But yeah, you all holding these tokens, waiting for the devs to do something. Why didn't they think of this? This is not that hard to think of. Mobile app, yes. Device, freaking awesome for marketing. It's awesome for brand awareness and all that. And it's ahead of the curve. So one more Solana gaming device. So like Solana is going to corner this market. I know SWI, we just showed SWI, but like I said, why are you going to let Solana beat the pants off you? Everyone's criticizing Solana. Oh, the transactions don't go through. Network is unreliable. It's because people are using it. People are actually using it. So that's that. Really quick institutional news, ETH news. I know people looking at me like, oh my God, why do you still have ETH? That's the boomer token. Why? It's going nowhere. All the L2s are draining liquidity. It's too slow, too expensive. I still hold ETH. It's number 2 in my portfolio, and I'm not changing that at all. I'm not changing it. Are you stupid? Do you know how easy it is for ETH and projects on ETH to be marketed to boomers, to normies? That may be easier than Bitcoin. You could say, look, ETH is a software platform. It has decentralized applications. What that means is your privacy is considered a lot more than in Web 2, and also less single points of failure, yada, 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 yada. Aave, number 1 lending platform, and Grayscale launches Aave Trust. One more, then we'll get to it. This is huge news right here. Visa launches tokenization platform for institutions. Here's your institutional adoption. Are you sad that this is not happening on the chain that you think is the best? Cardano, Polygon, Avalanche, are you sad? Well, these platforms had years to develop. They're not ready. Visa's just going to do it themselves. And that's what's going to happen with all these institutions, by the way. You can't hate it. You can't hate it. While you guys are flying around the world doing stupid boxing matches, Visa's building, fintech for the next 100 years. It says right here, payment giant Visa unveiled Visa tokenized asset platform, which will assist banks with fiat-backed token issuance management. This is to enhance existing financial infrastructure, right? Automate workflow via smart contracts. We talked about this so many times. Programmable tokens, being able to manage portfolios on chain 24/7. Real world assets, which I think will be more for the next cycle. I might be wrong, but I think we're a couple years away from that. And it says Visa's been at the forefront of digital payments for nearly 60 years. Why would they stop now? Why would they stop? And one more. It was down here. And then SWIFT, which is the global financial infrastructure. SWIFT to begin digital payments trial in 2025. Oh, but I thought Bitcoin was peer-to-peer cash. No. DeFi is going to get kind of absorbed. The best of DeFi anyway is going to get absorbed into TradFi, and most people will simply be holding ETFs because DeFi has been really like marred with failed experiments, and that's just how it is. It needs to be better by now. It's been years. Almost no overhead, almost no restrictions, and DeFi is kind of still in the infancy, which is sad because now all this open source code is laying around. I'm sure the institutions know that. They could just take the best of what they want, make it private, and now they have their own proprietary, rails for the best of blockchain with some crypto, and they'll be able to use the governments to attack DeFi continuously. And they'll say, look, well, we're Visa, we're SWIFT, we're JP Morgan, we have safe DeFi. We're trusted. Just KYC up, and you could use our rails. That's what's going to happen. They're going to cut a ton of costs like that. They're going to cut, seems like they're going to be able to cut out a lot of security liabilities and all that as well. So, man, 5 on it says, Visa didn't even have the DPRK build it either. It's North Korea he's talking about. It's a hilarious joke because Cosmos turned out that some protocol in Cosmos, I forget which one it was contracted out to some North Korean developers, and FBI got involved, and it's like, hey, did you hire these guys to build some stuff for you? Did you pay them? It's a sanctioned country, and I guess that's how that went down, and we'll never hear the end of that, I'm sure. Never hear the end of it, but man, most people just still on Twitter. I don't know how you could watch a stream on Twitter. It's kind of weird, to be honest with you. Let's go to the painful part of the stream. So I'm not going to bring it up on the screen just yet because I think the guy's scary looking. But Edward Snowden came out and is recorded explaining why he thinks Solana is actually centralized. And they quote him as a Bitcoin pundit. And he cites these risks to network autonomy. I believe I put the link in the description. If not, I'll do it. But this is an interesting conversation to have in terms of decentralization. Because, Solana gets looked at as, not as centralized as it could be, let's say. The developers on Solana will say we're perfectly decentralized. Name one way where we're not. And it just goes back and forth. But the word decentralized has just kind of lost its meaning over time, especially when proof of stake became, more popular than proof of work. So Edward Snowden is talking about the network's design specifically. And it was a virtual talk at the Singapore Token 2049 conference. And they were talking about just how blockchain could be designed from this first principles perspective to stay secure. And he pointed at Bitcoin. He said, look, it's built to withstand state intervention in contrast to Solana. So he probably didn't mean Solana specifically, but any chains built like Solana, meaning, probably most of proof of stake. And he says that the big risk with Solana is centralization. And we've heard about Solana having an on-off switch and all that. And he said that Solana's structure could easily fall under state control if governments chose to intervene. I kind of agree. I think that, well, I'll save what I think for the end. And, these were familiar critiques of Solana's governance model in particular. Crypto people are like, hey, look, FTX heavily controls what's happening on Solana. They could turn it on, turn it off. They could liquidate people on purpose. It's crazy. And governance is a meme. And this is, like I said, these are general critiques of all networks probably. And Edward Snowden is just kind of like the highest profile person that I've seen recently take this on. And he says basically if a network can't resist government intervention, it risks losing autonomy. And I would agree with that. Listen, Bitcoin can get attacked by governments, but it would take some coordination there, I would imagine. And man, they have some data here. Of course, the Cardano people always have data about other networks, not about their own. And I'm going to read the data right from the article here. It says, over 73% of Solana validators comply with KYC and AML requirements. This led to further questions about the extent of decentralization in Solana. And this is stake with pride. I mean, Cardano, I think that in the future, validators or stake pool operators, as they're known on Cardano, they will be the place where governments crack down, because they're the ones approving transactions, minting the blocks. They're basically saying this transaction's okay. This transaction is not illegal. This transaction is not from a sanctioned jurisdiction, yada, yada, yada. The other thing that's a totally valid critique, in my opinion, about Solana is that their validator program is driven by its foundation, automatically subsidizes validators who follow predefined rules. So you have this, not only this groupthink echo chamber type of centralization, you have a foundation pulling strings. And we see this definitely in Cosmos, right? With the ICF, which is a massive foundation, and Ethereum, right? So if you have a foundation, are you decentralized? I would say no. That's just me. But let's hear how Solana supporters defended this. In response to Snowden's remarks, Mert Mumtaz, co-founder of Helios Labs, I follow him on Twitter. He would never, ever stand for a criticism of Solana. He's a big advocate for Solana, and he challenged these claims. He emphasized the need for factual evidence, pointing out that Snowden did not provide specific data to support his statements. Well, you also need data that you're decentralized by the same token. But he argued that Solana's network, with thousands of geographically distributed nodes across different jurisdictions, makes it resilient. That's fair, right? That's fair. And he also noted that Solana's decentralization is evolving. That's totally fair too. And with all these different updates and whatnot, they're making sure the system has no single points of failure. I get that. I get that. But I'm kind of pragmatic here. And the word, you have to define the term before you have an argument about it. Otherwise, you're going to have a never-ending debate on centralization, decentralization. So I'm going to get in the middle here. It's like, what the hell's going on, right? Centralization, what does it mean? Decentralization, what does it mean? Well, we know what centralization looks like, right? It looks like, let's say your state has one bank and everyone has to use the same bank. If that bank just decides not to open one day, nobody can get money, right? Single point of failure. That's an example of being centralized. Another example of being centralized would be something like Live Nation. Live Nation controls really all the ticket prices for almost every concert, sporting event that happens. I don't know about worldwide, but definitely in the United States. So how do we define decentralization? Is it number of validators? right? Cardano and Solana would say we have so many validators, we're decentralized. Is it geographic? Like what Mertz from Solana was saying, all these different jurisdictions, that is a point of decentralization to consider, right? Geographic makes a big difference. If you're from Polkadot, you would say, we have the highest Nakamoto coefficient. We're the most decentralized. Nakamoto coefficient means that regardless of the number of validators, each validator is sharing more of the weight of responsibility and accountability for minting blocks, governance, and uptime and all that. I would say, what about token distribution? Right? We've seen this with meme coins all the time. Meme coins really can't be decentralized at all because usually very few people control the supply. That's a point of failure right there, a point of centralization to consider. And then we got other single points of failure like Ethereum L2s. Are they even sovereign networks? These Ethereum L2s, are they just multi-sigs that are purpose built? And there's a huge trade-off that you make. You're like, I don't want to pay the gas fees on ETH, so I'm going to transact over here on Base or whatever. And I'm okay with a few anonymous people controlling the whole network via multi-sig. I've heard so many times, this is just a multi-sig. Polygon's just a multi-sig. Stacks, it's a multi-sig. Well, these L2s, it's tough because if you have one L2 and it's a multi-sig, super centralized, right? But what if you have 100 L2s? Each L2 has its own, method of bunching the transactions and its own governance and all that. If a few of them fail or a few of them rug, only liquidity on those individual networks is affected. I would say that's decentralized, right? Even though each individual L2 might be centralized, the fact that there are so many and people have choices of where they want to transact and where they want to gamble and invest, whatever you want to call it, I would say it's not bad, right? That's not bad. Cosmos is kind of like this, where you have 80 different blockchains with their own governance. Obviously, there are criticisms you could make about the architecture of Cosmos, but we've seen networks get shut down temporarily. We've seen hacks, we've seen exploits. The rest of the ecosystem just keeps on chugging along, and it doesn't really matter if Osmosis is down for 6 hours or Evmos has a bridge hack or even like with Terra, with the UST DPEG. Yeah, it was like an extreme catastrophe, but the rest of the Cosmos worked pretty damn good. So I would say from that regard, it's decentralized. But I don't think you could look at one metric for decentralization. You're making trade-offs everywhere because something like Cosmos, yeah, you have 80 different blockchains with their own governance, their own tokenomics, their own block times, their own software, their own validator sets. Even though some of the people are the same, a lot of people are the same across different chains, it's different things to consider here for centralization. The trade-off is you have this lack of organization, though. You have this lack of cohesiveness, this lack of vision, which I think Solana has, and Cardano as well, because the foundations drive the development. And that brings me to foundations. If your network depends on a foundation, can it be decentralized ever? I don't think so. Cardano's got 3 massive foundations. Avalanche has a foundation. Cosmos has 2 foundations. Solana's got the Solana Foundation. ETH's got founded. These are controlling interests of the network. They only will allow a certain amount of decentralization, at least at the start, as long as it benefits those foundations, right? The foundations live off the networks to an extent, whereas like the networks should not be highly dependent or living off of the foundations. Then it comes down to, can foundations give themselves tokens? Yes, that's how a lot of them get started. Can foundations delegate those tokens to validators and vote in governance? Yes, we see this. I think this is super risky. I don't think foundations should be allowed to delegate their tokens. Of course, each chain should have its own choice, but in general, I think this is a net negative for the networks. It's more centralized. We see this in Cosmos, where the ICF, they have a point system, and if you meet the required amount of points, they distribute some of their massive stake to you. But are you expected to vote in their interests? Probably. Are you expected to act a certain way? Yes. Otherwise you lose that and you might no longer be validating that chain. So centralization, there's a lot to consider. There's number of validators, there's Nakamoto coefficient, there's token distribution. The tokenomics can make or break a network in terms of centralized versus decentralized. Are there single points of failure like multi-sigs and all that? How top down is your network? I would consider Solana to be very top down. This is great for developing products, obviously. Maybe this is not so good for decentralization. We got foundations in the mix. Are foundations good for centralization? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm okay with a network launching kind of on the centralized side, and then they have benchmarks where these foundations gradually release control, give up their stakes, maybe burn some of their tokens if they reach certain benchmarks. I don't think foundations holding 5, 10, 15% of a supply that they did not purchase is good at all for decentralization. And then there's governance to consider. How centralized is the process of governance? What if these validators all know each other? What if these validators are the same people? What if I'm the number one validator on a chain, and I'm also the number 10, 15, 20, 28, 37 validator on a chain? We know this happens. We know there are Sybil's. Sybil's are actually allowed on Cardano. I think they're allowed on Polkadot too. I could be wrong though. I know that they exist. So there's governance to consider when determining centralized, decentralized. And these are all trade-offs, by the way. I'm not saying that one is make or break and one is more important than the other. But we started this conversation, Edward Snowden saying Solana has a single point of failure, and that single point of failure is that it can be regulated or quote unquote attacked by a government. Well, almost every network that has a foundation can. Like what if NATO sanctions Ethereum Foundation, let's say? That's a game over for that network, probably. We would say it would test the resistance of Ethereum and the layer 2s, but that would be a disaster, probably. Something else for centralization that maybe Cardano does have a leg up on over others, it's liquid staking. Liquid staking providers are a horrendous point of centralization for a chain. Not only because they'll have to custody tokens, they might now delegate them to validators. Stake pool operators don't apply here because Cardano doesn't have liquid staking providers, but these are companies that direct tokens to different validators. They could use it to control governance. You have a massive Sybil attack there, right? What else about liquid staking? It's very similar to bridges, right? I mean, it's very similar to bridges. What if there's a problem and then the bridge, I should say bridge wrapped asset issuer can't pay out? Liquid staking providers, what if they just can't pay out? They got to pay themselves, right? Who knows if you could actually redeem everything one for one? I don't know. It's highly dependent. But what I do know is liquid staking providers, the way that is being done right now in crypto, I think is a huge centralization risk without even knowing all the dynamics of it. And that's simply because you only got 1, 2, maybe 3 providers on each network. All the tokens are being funneled through 1, 2, 3 providers. Now these networks are interconnected through interoperability protocols, which is great, I think. But what if you've got the same companies, liquid staking providers on multiple chains that are now connected? You just have a bigger kind of honeypot, let's say. I don't know if the honeypot's the right word, but this argument, which I think is a positive one to have, has many considerations. And I don't think number of validators determines if a network is centralized or not. I do not think Nakamoto coefficient is the single metric for determining if a network is decentralized or not. Maybe weighing the single points of failure is right now. A lot of the networks are fairly new. They need time to decentralize. Decentralization is on a spectrum for me. It's not cut and dry, obviously. And it just depends on what each user considers decentralized. And if One network is really geographically decentralized. That's great. People like Edward Snowden, they might gravitate to use those networks more because they're not worried about a single government coming in and just, regulating the validators to death. Someone else like me, I look at tokenomics. I look at token distribution. I want to see that one person can't tank the price. I want to see that one person can't shift governance with their token holdings, especially if they didn't buy them. So I'm going to gravitate away from projects whose tokens are not distributed sufficiently. What's sufficient? I don't know. I have to compare it side by side with another. Because like I said, this is all on a spectrum. It's all on a spectrum. And does it really matter in the end? What if there's no, sufficient economic activity on the chains? What are we actually decentralizing? We're decentralizing nothing. Just decentralizing a bunch of software. Who cares then? For me, I don't care. Maybe you're a dev. You might care. But anyway, that's my spiel on decentralization. Decentralize? Yes. For what? That's up to the designers and the users to kind of come to consensus on. Kind of like governance. You have on-chain governance? Great. What are you governing? Nothing? A bunch of shitcoins? Have fun with that. That's not governance for me. I'm not interested in that. That's not going to change the world. Decentralization of nothing is not going to change the world either. Maybe it's best to, like Solana's doing, kind of top down, almost like a corporate approach, and use the network to launch a whole bunch of competing apps. Get those apps into people's hands like a company would want to do. And then once you have some viable economic activity, which in Solana's case will have to include some realistic fee structure and scaling back the inflation, which is way, way, way too high. But nonetheless, they're on the right track, it seems, right? Tokenomics is a big one for me. I can't get behind a network long-term if the tokenomics is horrendous. But then you decentralize the network once you go from 0 to 5. Now we need to decentralize so we can eliminate some of these geographic risks, these single points of failure. So a gradual progression towards more decentralization, making less and less trade-offs as a network matures. I think that's the way. And I don't see that anywhere now, but maybe we are early. I'm impatient. I always say, where's the product? Where's the app? What can I do? Why is the UI so garbage? Why is the token not being revised, the tokenomics? I'm very impatient. I have a very short time horizon because I feel the institutions and TradFi breathing down everyone's necks. Like they're going to just take this stuff and make it their own, make it private, KYC it. And then here, you wanted crypto, you wanted blockchain. Now you got to go buy an ETF. You wanted DeFi. Now you got to download an app through the iPhone store and KYC and then swap your shitcoins. I feel it. I feel the urgency. I wish more people would be on board with me, or just give me some pushback, some reasonable argument in my face that why my thinking is wrong. I'm happy to hear it. But yeah, decentralized Solana, no, I don't think any proof of stake chain with a foundation is sufficiently decentralized. Can they change that? Yes. Is on-chain governance going to do it? Probably not. Probably not. But anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you next Sunday morning. Good luck if you've got some bets in on the NFL games today, baseball playoffs today. Good luck. I'm not betting. I got cleaned out like week 2, and I'm going to take a break from the sports betting. My fantasy team is going to rock it today. Need Mahomes. Need some other people to just step up. Got some injuries. We'll get over it. That's it. Have a great one. Wrap it up.